All right, it's 9:02. Today is Wednesday, August 2nd. We'll continue this, the third day of our recessed budget workshop meetings. And present here is Commissioners Court plus Christy and Carl. And one of the things we know we were going to discuss today, so we might as well begin with first is, Carl, your findings on, after visiting with the appraisal district as to what our effective tax rate and rollback rates are, just so that we'll know what those figures are.
Well, effectively, she's still working on the figures, but we have a pretty good idea what the rollback rate is. It's going to be about 52 cents.
About 52 cents, and right now we're at almost 46. So if we're at 46 and we're talking about adding 3, it puts us at 49. That puts us still behind the rollback rate. I mean, plenty of cushion between that and the rollback rate. They're calculating. They're calculating their valuation related to Luminant this year lower or higher than last year?
It's $262 million.
I think it's about the same.
And Luminant's still at $50 million, so that's the number that we used the last several years.
But they will calculate their collections based on what, 88% to compensate for that?
Roughly, it's 87.8. That's based on the fact that even though we assess on that whole 262, because that's what we're required to do, we know they're not going to pay $50 million. So your collection percentage would normally be 97, 98%. It's going to be, in this case, 87.8%.
Okay.
Good news is, she said that they were setting up mediation at the end of August. And hopefully we get something resolved. She thought we were the last case left.
The others have settled.
So she thinks that they're, I'm not sure what she makes it on. She thought they seem like they're ready to settle. Ready to settle.
Well, they have a new attorneys for Luminant that seem to be more aggressive. Now, we'll have a meeting, and you're welcome to come back to this meeting at 11 o'clock. Brad Watson is going to meet with me, and he asked for Mike. If you want to sit in and listen, he's going to update us not just on the count. Well, you've got meetings. He's the no, not the attorney. He's the Luminant liaison we've been dealing with on the county park. So he's going to, we'll talk briefly about the county park. He's going to update us on lawsuit status, so maybe we'll learn something there. I don't know. I doubt if he's got all the details, to tell you the truth, but and it's non-binding mediation, so just because they go to mediation doesn't mean they'll get it resolved, but it's the first action we've had in 3 years.
And the fact that they've settled all the other cases,
Okay.
When is that?
11 o'clock today.
Okay, I knew it was today, but
So I think we're okay on all that. The good news is that we're talking a little bit about the savings in the INS. It is reflected a little bit. The number we have to come up with for the county for our matching portion this year is $2,257,000, which originally was $2.5 million. What we used to have to do.
say that one more time.
$2,257,000.
Down from 2.4?
2.5. A couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Came down a little bit last year. It's down a little bit more this year. So.
And why did it go down last year? Just more principal paid down?
I think they just had to be it was close to 2.5.
Okay. So we'll get a benefit of
I'm showing
150,000 in the INS, a little bit, that much lower,
I'm showing that the rate for the INS will be able to go down to 12 to 20.
from 13. Okay, did y'all catch that? Because of the adjustment in debt service needs, so we are getting a little bit of benefit this year.
Is that based on the fact that it's not effective till February of the year, but if that's the whole year, or?
See, I don't see how we're getting any benefit yet.
I'm not pretty sure to the amortization schedule I sent. That's the amortization schedule that's on the use.
Okay.
The other thing that will happen in a couple of years, that old 2004 bond
Right.
will pay off in 2018.
It pays off at the end of 18.
Maybe March of 19.
Okay. You know what he's talking about? That was a borrowing we made back in '04 to pay for right-of-way acquisition on Harts Bluff and 1734, the 1735, the College Road. And so that costs us how much per year? 200,000. So, and that'll pay off, so we'll get to enjoy that as we're sitting here next year, maybe.
Of course, it costs a lot more than we thought to do the Harts Bluff, so I wouldn't count that.
Because that's what we did out there, it cost a lot more.
Start moving those utility lines, it'll probably
What is that
won't be
account?
much of a savings to us.
What is in that account now, Carl?
200, 300,000.
Miss
3 million.
Huh?
Should be 3 million.
Some over 3 million. That account to widen those roads, 1402 and 13. We didn't have it,
Cost $1 million out there, and we had 2 million, but that interest that it draws has built up over the years.
yeah, but that was both of them. We were
This is the
short, yeah.
amortization schedule for all the bonds,
Oh, okay.
okay? And the total payments, this was for the year we're in right now, 9/30/17. The total payments are $2,496,000, okay? For this next year, they go down to $2,250,000. So that's why, and then they actually go down, they stay about that same for a while, then they go down to 2 million even for a couple of years, and then they jump back up. I'm not sure exactly how they did the calculations. But you can see these bonds, the 7, of course, the 7 got refinanced, and the 9 got refinanced. But the 11 will pay off in March 20, I guess that is.
9/30, 19, no, wait. Oh, yes, for the end of the year.
9/30/19, yeah, it's gonna be in March of 19 will pay off.
March, starting out.
262,000, but how much is in that fund? We don't have that much in there, 500, 400?
No, that's, no, we got more than that.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, we probably got, you talking about inside the INS fund?
Yeah, on that one,
2000, yeah, I think we got about
those bonds,
2 million. She's gonna get the report.
that fund.
I showed this to Mike, I'll show you these guys in a second. Here is the latest amortization schedule. It's got all bonds. This is what we did in the year we're in right now, 9/30/17. That's the total payment.
Out there over that Harts Bluff Road, it was around $1 million is what we spent out there.
I'm sorry.
Out there on that Harts Bluff Road, we
Yeah.
spent about $1 million. That left
Right.
$2 million. But all the interest is drawn.
It kind of goes down a little bit.
It's part of it, I don't know if it's included in it, but it still has to go into that. But the one thing that we need to really push is 1735 right now. Got the money, I think, to buy it right away.
Well, are we gonna pay that now early when given the opportunity?
Well, I guess it could. It could.
We need to go.
Let's wear him out. I see him every day almost when he's here. I'll get up.
And then we need our guy from video.
Brian
You have an old one that,
I have a hard time getting him to turn like
curve with or without.
He will help us.
He moves moved to the
I think it's a
60.
combination.
So that's what.
I think the reason it goes from
South
2.2
down there
down to
with
2.0
this project,
because
has
of
Bill
the
Rackles and Sam Russell.
Go down to 2 million.
Was a lot of committees and stuff, tax got just been on the back.
Here's the schedule they sent us from them.
I see him.
This is all the bond.
Matter of fact, I'll see him probably just today. Well, I won't, he's in Austin, but I'll,
September.
I see him.
This is for the year we're in right now,
This
9/30.
thing at the time, we need, I think we need to do a resolution supporting this, that we encourage people,
This is for next year.
whatever that deal is that Hudson's on. Because he's pushed for it for us.
I think we did that, but I went to a meeting.
Just a little over 2 million, if that's after the 11 pays off.
I heard they said
This 7 and this 9, they didn't really go away, they got replaced by
created,
16
passed
and
that
17 over here.
budget
We just
amount about
moved
3
here
years
to here.
ago, and let them,
And we refinanced it by 11,
and the interest
which is 4,
on the money that
really
takes
2004.
is borrowed.
We refinanced it at 11, that's why it says it's 11.
And then what they're doing,
It pays off.
big thing they're doing is that they're letting these companies, foreign companies, have these toll roads. So what they're doing is closing up some of the free lanes and making them toll lanes by.
I'm thinking the INS rate's gonna be 12, 20.
I know it, and that's
Yeah,
what they're,
3
and that's
cents.
why that there's.
To the M&O rate, the M&O rate was 32.82. It'll go to 35.82. Your M&O rate will go to 35. Let me give you the ones for this year. Right now, your M&O rate is 32.82. Your INS rate is 13.02. For a total of 45.84.
What was the INS?
INS is 13.02. That's your current rate. 13.02, 32.82 for a total of 45.84. What we're talking about doing, we'll take the INS rate to 12.20. We'll take the M&O rate to 35.82. To make an overall rate 48.02. So it's not quite 3 cents.
It's less than 3 cents.
What did you say? 4884? What?
48.02 is the total. It'll be 12.20,
I got you.
35.82. For the total 48.02, we go 3 cents. On the IND, go down almost 80 cents. And not quite 3 cents. Now, fund balance. I think fund balance is going to finish up the year at about $4.5 million. I think I put $4,600,000 in our worksheets, so we'll use that.
And that's assuming Roger spends the full 700,000, spends that entire amount. Okay. So we've reduced our fund balance this year with that $1 million and with the purchase of equipment and
And with the increase in there's about 4 things that we're going to do.
increase in the Roger's pay.
Roger's salary for half a year, $1 million on the local bridge, $300,000 on the election equipment, and about $20,000 a month for the last 4 to 5 months of the year on fire.
Y'all get all that?
That's what we are on down.
Okay. All right, so we had talked about being willing to take a 3-cent M&O increase. You get the benefit of that debt service reduction. So that yields you only an increase over this year of of 2 pennies, 0.18, 2.18 cents. All right, just Carl and Christie, I put these notes together from yesterday. If I missed anything there, let me know. That's 2 of those, one for each of you, to help you fill in your numbers. Y'all read over this, see if there's anything that I missed.
business manager's increase. Do what you want to do, but a lot of that work is falling back on our office. Because either they call in, they can't find him, so they know we're in the office, and they call us. You may even want to let them, you're talking about chasing these parts or the maintenance deal, there was any mention of using him to do any of that. If you're going to give him that kind of money, an increase, you need to be doing a better job than
Wait a minute, what, I missed the part.
Talking about James.
Huh?
Talking about James,
James Construction. All right.
the business manager.
Well, this figure here was what he put on his budget, and it is the figure that I'm told was approved by 3 commissioners sometime in the last 12 months. I don't know when.
Well, I think it was approved before the budget was approved. So the way I view it is when you approve the budget, they change their minds before the budget.
I don't remember this being part of the budget last year. Not
You
that.
think he came to them after the budget was finalized?
I think they may have had the discussion after the budget was finalized. No? How did it work, Christie?
I think he went to them before the budget, and then it was not carried through.
I think he came to the office early.
And then when they realized after the budget had been approved, well, I mean,
I just remember, look, he was in the budget, and he made the request, he wanted him to bump up, and everybody sat there and didn't acknowledge that statement. So, it didn't.
what, but I'm told there was a signed payroll increase
Well,
sheet.
I can stamp something and pass it around, and give them a concept for raise, 3 people sign it. They just didn't take it before. And have it as a budget line item to approve.
I guess the way we viewed it was, when he went acting on that, you're fixing to approve the budget anyway, you're going to have a raise at the end of the budget. Within 2 or 3 weeks, the budget being approved.
Okay.
And when the budget was voted on, it was right in there, but you were getting paid the same raise that everybody else got. So the 3 that wanted it, wanted to get that change, all they had to do was say, I don't see that in this budget. I want to get that raise, nobody did that. So we wouldn't have what was in the budget.
Okay. Well, the reason I'm putting it in here is because I'm told that it was approved by 3. Why it never made it all the way through, I don't know.
Right.
But this would take him to where William was when he left. Now, if he's not doing what you're,
Well, our problem's the same as Roger needs to understand, in my opinion, his problem is, he may not want to go that guy, but that guy's affecting everything that he's working on, because he's working on his equipment. James isn't part of my office, but everything he's doing affects my office. If he doesn't get the POs, then we got to get the POs. Somebody's got to get the POs. And, a lot of that is falling back on us, partly because the people that are calling in are probably a little lazy. They call me once and then answer the phone, they just call us. Because they know we're going to answer the phone. They know somebody's in the office.
well, I think his official phone number ought to be his cell phone, is what I think.
Well, I don't know, I assume it was.
I think everybody got it.
That's what I always call, was his cell phone number. Every now and then I'd call
Is
his
he calling on
office.
the cell phone and he's not answering?
We paying a cell phone allowance?
He needs to answer his phone.
Well, I call that cell, when I've called him on the cell phone, he's told me, but I'll give you a number later. I can't give you a number right now. Call the
Well,
office.
he might not be. in the
Call your office. So I end up calling your office. Calling Shelby. When he's got the cell phone, in other words, you still can't get a PO number from him.
What's involved in giving a PO number?
Well, he has to go into the computer. to do this.
Yeah, he has to go in the computer to get the
He has to be in his
cell.
office to do it.
We don't do POs anymore.
Does anybody else give PO numbers besides him?
No,
Well, we
we
can,
did.
Oh, you do too? So he can't just necessarily keep a list of the next 10 PO numbers on a worksheet on his phone and give those out?
At one time,
The other thing that he has to do is he has to make sure that they're asking can't tell that. I mean, if you can give him a number, but he wouldn't, until he checks the computer, he doesn't know if they're qualified, if they're eligible to spend the money.
So it doesn't matter if it's 10, it's talking or not.
Now, it's not a big deal early in the year, but this time of year, it's a big deal.
It's a big job.
Because it's be a big deal because we're going to run again. They're going over the budget. Does that mean we're not going to let them get it? Probably not. We're going to buy it. We're going to move money around. But they need to be aware that, hey, you want to spend some more money on paper in your office. You're already over your office supply line, so you're going to have to move some money from somewhere, or you're going to have to go to Commissioner's Court. You get
See,
the okay, move some money to cover it.
He has always, if I called him for a PO and it was close or over, he would tell me, he said, you need to see Christie, it's, you know, this.
But he can only do that if he's in the office, because he has to be on the computer to see that.
Yeah, yeah.
So just handing out POs, yeah, I was all one side of the problem. Take care of the part about what they over budget or not.
Okay, do y'all want to have him in the executive session in 2 weeks to discuss this?
I think we probably should.
Want to do, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Do you think we ought to have him be in attendance for that executive session regarding salaries so that he can hear it from the court? We expect these, you know, we're making this commitment to your pay. We expect you to make a commitment to giving timely information with these POs and not reverting it back to the auditor's office. This is your job. You need to make yourself available and you need to answer that cell phone. And if you're going to go do whatever during the day, you got to have that cell phone with you. And you need to be able to provide a PO, I would say, within an hour.
Yeah.
And that's true. The other side of that is the departments need to understand that just because you need it like that, he may not can do that. Like the sheriff department, go wait until they get to Mason's and then call. Well,
Yeah.
call us or him before you go to Mason's so you can at least contact him. You know,
So you have the PO
you
ready
can
to
have
go.
a PO. I mean, we can go. Now, I don't mind, I would like to know what his schedule is because if his lunch is 11 to 12, then my office does not mind taking the POs from his, or if he takes a break or whatever his schedule is, then we can accommodate that. If he's
Well,
off
I
sick
think
or
the lunch,
something.
his lunch needs to match what everybody's lunch is. And I'd say that'd be 12 to 1. I mean, you're cutting out 2 hours there. If he's on one lunch
Well,
cycle.
I'm always in the office. So, I mean, there's going to be always somebody in my office through all the
We got
work.
problem solved.
But what I'm
Yeah.
saying is he needs to understand that.
I agree. He needs to
If it's
communicate
like
with you.
12 to 1, then it needs to be 12
Wait.
to 1, so, you know, he works out and then he goes to lunch or whatever that routine is. I don't know.
The problem that I see, of course, and you all know that I think it's an unnecessary job, but the problem was, all the POs that he ever had before, the sheriff has their own POs, that's half our money, and then the Road and Bridge has their own POs, did have. And they issued we got our POs down there, and they have a book down there. Then all of a sudden, they wanted us to get them from James. Carl did. I'm sure he had a good reason. And that's when the problem began. You couldn't get a hold of James to get them when you needed them, so he told us
The
to.
POs that you're talking about that the maintenance farmhouse, that was an old system before we went on the PO system, just because Terry gives you a PO.
I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
Years ago, we had paper POs.
Right.
And they kept that system. Just because Terry gives you a PO does not go through our system. They don't have any yellow beans because we don't even use those. That's why I tell Terry, do not issue, or you don't even use your own PO because it has nothing to do with our system.
Once we went on the actual
Right.
computer PO
It is
system,
its own.
the only place you can get it is from the computer.
Right.
And the sheriff
okay.
department,
So it doesn't do any good to have it.
and the sheriff department, I don't know what PO, they've never, as far as I'm concerned, had their own, or that my knowledge has ever had their own POs.
Well, I didn't know.
We've always had to convert them.
You do the sheriff's?
Yes.
I didn't know. Well, I know that he didn't. I mean, 20 years ago, I had my POs on the XL.
There's
Give you the next number.
that he will tell them, go ahead and call the auditor's office. Well, he can go to his office or tell them a time frame for them to work it out, unless it's an emergency, then call us.
I just think it needs to be emphasized to him that, you know, it's an easy out, just go back to the office. It's not that we're not doing this, we were
No.
done right anyway. I would say this, if he ever leaves, I would recommend you just put it in my office.
Does he, those POs that Terry does out there at the maintenance barn, or the paper that he does,
Yeah, what
he-
he'll do is come in and we'll
And then
convert.
we'll convert.
he picks them up and comes in and rewrites them, am I right?
And I tell
In
the
other
sheriff, if all possible, just call, you know, to steal it. He could get one from James, or if James is not available to call us, because I'm trying to get him away from doing that.
Yeah.
Why-
That, to me, that's what needs to happen,
That's a
is that needs to go away out
It needs to go
there.
away, 'cause that's a double work, I mean.
Why does he need to pick them up every morning? I mean, everybody comes here, that's a waste of time and money. We buy him gas and for doing that and furnish a pickup truck for him, so.
That's it. That could be handled either way y'all want to handle it. Maybe that's the most efficient way to do it, maybe it's not, I don't know.
You know, used to, when William was here, y'all said, okay, in the mornings, you're gonna stay in your office and do this and that, and the afternoons you'll run for parts. I mean, y'all had him to his mind, y'all did thoroughly. Y'all would put William, you know, up until noon, you would have him doing this, and noon afterwards, y'all have him doing something else. So he would be in his office in the morning.
Is there a job description for that office?
We don't have job descriptions.
Well, basically, it's a job that shakes parts.
Does he provide the delivery services that was once provided for the commissioners? That was one of the reasons that was an important job, was to run errands for the commissioners. Is that task still necessary or not as prevalent?
Obviously, we're talking about if he ever left, I mean, we couldn't do that part of the job. We could issue the POs, I just assume issue the POs, but chase the parts for the commissioners, the lodger, we can't do that. We can't, the sheriff's office or anybody else, they would have to send their own people out to get their stuff. And that was, I think, always one of the arguments, was it was more efficient to have him do that and pull people out of different offices, do that.
Because that was the big part of him, is he did go and get stuff. I mean, he did very good at doing that.
But he generally worked in his office in the morning, and he was, in the afternoons, he would go deliver, pick up the parcel, wherever he was at. The sheriff's office.
And it would probably mean, you know, some of the offices, especially the sheriff's department, to get a new routine, whatever y'all set for him, that they would need to understand, and that they would have to make some adjustments as well.
But if he was going to be out of the office in the afternoons, they would be in the mornings.
And I'm assuming is he going every day out to the county park?
You go 3 or 4 times, I'm not sure on that.
I mean, that's
But that would go
a
away.
full hour, probably right in the middle of the day.
I think he goes, early, like between 8. I know that yesterday we got a call. I'm not sure if he's on his way to, I think he does it in the morning, but I could.
But it would be an hour, 20 minutes out there, 20 minutes back. 40 minutes out there, whenever he does. And that's the only way he can walk.
Right, it goes away 6 o'clock, so.
It's probably just needs to be emphasized, that we need to have a set, for instance, routine. If you have that set routine, we can train the different departments. That, look, he's not going to be in the office in the afternoon, he needs some paper, don't wait till 1 o'clock to call.
Well, he needs to be in the office in the afternoon if he's available. I'd like to get a feel for how much transport work he's got.
Right.
If not, he needs to be in close proximity so that he can get those POs.
Or unless y'all decide every department go and chase after their own stuff, and he stays in there all day. I mean, just whatever the court wants. department go get their own stuff?
Well,
Or have to visit with them, I don't know.
in some instances, that might work, or some departments that might work, but there was a lot of times that I needed stuff that the only way we'd get it was with the credit card. And I'd either meet him at the location, and we'd pick it up, and he'd pay for it, and I'd go on about my business, or if it was, something like ink for the printer or something, he'd go to Staples and get it, put it in my box down there. So, he's told me a time or two that he would bring it to me if I needed it, but I've never had him come out to me.
Them picking up and all that, that's for y'all, since I really don't know.
Well, Roger said at one time that they could use him a lot doing that. If, picking up stuff for them and going picking up parts for the maintenance barn and whatnot. So,
Remember that takes him out of the office, so.
yeah,
Not there to issue PO.
that's right.
To answer your question, I don't think he should be involved in the meeting with Roger.
Roger or James?
James. I don't think James should be in that meeting that we've got set up for the 14th with Roger.
Well, how are we going to convey to him what our expectations are and what our needs are and what the problems are?
I do always sit down and talk to him. Tell him this is what we're expecting, just like they're doing.
Well,
The morning time, we need POs, that's when it needs done, after dinner. We're gonna be picking up.
Again, I don't know if you can make that decision, you talk to him and see exactly how much
Yeah, as far as.
chasing,
Yeah,
he's doing.
I don't know.
He's doing a bunch of that.
Well, I know he's going to the park 2 or 3 times a week. He's picking up that money and stuff, but that will end at the end of this month.
That's just one small part.
I know.
I don't know how much.
I think the system is a mistake. Somebody should have somebody they have to report to, and then whether it's James, and like they talking to him, I think he out-talked them yesterday. Somebody needs to say, this is what's expected of you, be able to tell him and do it, and then somebody should do it, and I think it should be one person. I think you could delegate it to Mike or someone, as far as...
And I have no problem with that, because I'm typically here,
Right.
but I don't have a clue I don't have any knowledge of what his daily routine or his responsibilities are. I just don't deal with that. So all I'm doing is taking information here from y'all as to what you like and what you don't like.
Well, that's why I'm thinking, we need to sit there and talk to him, let's see exactly how much running around he has to do.
I think Al's talking about, and I may be wrong, may have took it wrong myself, but what he's saying is he don't think James needs to be in the meeting with Roger and all, which we don't need him in there when we're talking to Roger, but we need him to come in after Roger leaves out.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't going to mix the two.
Oh, okay.
That's what
I was concerned about.
getting at
Oh,
there.
okay.
Just, okay,
Just
well,
during that same
Yeah,
Executive session.
executive session. After you get
I
through
got
Roger, then
you. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, okay. Well, I misunderstood.
But
Yeah.
y'all
That's,
need to understand what he does, because I don't know, there's 2 different components to this. Our office is concerned with is the PO, and the fact that he's not there, it's falling on us. That's okay, as long as but we're not sure he's not abusing that situation.
It's a routine deal.
Saying, well, it's
Well, if it's increased over what it was when William was here,
Well, we never did PO with William.
well, how did William get it done?
Well, he was just more, like I said, he did all this, he was there at the office all morning long, and then he went chasing parts in the afternoon, or equipment, or supplies, or whatever it was in the case.
Well, during the daytime, he went out to Walmart and got a whole bunch of stuff and took to the sheriff's department. It was after hours.
If
he did
if you get on your POs that morning, then you go
He went to,
make your rounds and pick it up and carry it back. I don't know if that takes 2 hours or what that takes. I don't think
Just
it's
spend all
that.
that they need.
Maybe you could do it from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock. But the other thing the other officers have to understand is 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock, they can't call and get a PO from him. Now, if he's gonna consistently do that all the time, then they can put him on lunch, kind of like we talked about if he's gone to lunch. We weren't on lunch. If we know every afternoon from 3 to 5, he's gonna be chasing parts or making deliveries, then we can do
But
the
he-
PO from 3 to 5.
well, I've been around here 4.5 years. He's never chased a part at all. Like, it's the only thing I've ever done. We've had to go ourselves. And like the credit card was the only time that I've ever had anything. And,
Well, he told me not too long after I took office that he was, he said William was supposed to come back and for a couple of weeks or something other afterwards and show me what he did and how he did it. But said that never happened. He said, so I had to pick it up on my own. And I told him, I said, they've got schools that you can go to learn this stuff, to learn what your role is, what you've got to do, and how you're supposed to be doing it. And he went
But he's
last
not
year,
a-
I think.
He's not a purchase agent, so
It what?
he's not a purchase agent.
He's
It's
business
not his
manager.
position, it's just a business manager. So
Yeah.
I don't know if they have business manager, sure. I know they have purchase manager, sure. That's not what he is.
They all, there's other counties that has.
Yeah, purchase agents have different authority, different powers.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, what William did was he was responsible for the POs, the running, he did all the bids. And, which back then, was he was our repairs guy also, which we kind of got that with David. But those 3 things, I mean, and I don't mind our office doing the POs, all of them, and y'all switch him to helping Roger more, or doing it if it's a full-time job for him. Because it relates to our financial, it's my books that I'm looking at, so, if y'all want to do that. But with the increase, I just think some responsibilities should go on with that. Whatever you do, or
I think I'll have a pre-meeting with him, and then I want him to hear it from this group right here as to what we need. But what I'm hearing is we need a tighter routine. We need his presence here in that office more. We need to make his trips to wherever he's going be at a more regular time schedule. And we need him to be able to answer that phone, and we need to make sure everybody has his telephone and they're not trying to call up here. I want to change it.
They may be getting him on the phone. I mean,
Yeah, they all know his number.
He may be answering the phone, but it would just be a lot simpler if he was gonna go from 3 to 5 every day.
Or y'all set a routine where, or a time like, okay, every office, you're gonna get a PO within the hour. And if everybody knows that, then they know that when they call, well, if I can't get him, I'm gonna take an hour before I just call the auditor's office. Or like that. And then if it's an emergency, then that's a different thing.
you can move him down to your office.
Excuse me?
A bad idea.
But I know sometimes William had some free time. He would go to these different battery places and get quotes. We tried to do that, I know he tried to do that every 3 months, to get, quotes on batteries from 3 different places. He would go around, 3 months later, he'd go back and check
Get that on the
prices.
phone. Get that on the telephone.
Well,
Yeah, they're-
No, and I'm not either. I mean, I don't want you not to.
Well, the
get-
nature of this job is there's lack of supervision.
Yes.
And we need to change that,
Yes.
and we need to define his
And if I know,
hours,
if you would tell me what
priorities.
his routine is, then I would, okay.
We're gonna
I know
find
what
that
it is.
out. I'm gonna find
said
that out.
we will, it might not be practical because the sheriff's office is very hard to change their ways. They want something. If 2 o'clock in the afternoon, they want something, they need a park, they need some supplies, they need something in jail,
Well, we can establish a schedule and notify them, this is what James's schedule is going to be. If you're going to wait till between 2 and 4 to get your supply orders in, you're probably going to run into a problem because he's probably going to be out running errands.
Like I said, 2 to 4, you can call us, as long as we know, okay, 2 to 4, we're going to issue all the POs, everything before that, he's going to 2 to 4, when he needs to.
Because he goes, I think his day ends at 4, so.
Do we need him to start at 7? Is that where did that come from? From helping you guys?
I don't know. But he,
Maybe it's something like, or sometimes they would deliver y'all's material out there early, and he would be,
I think he has a time that he goes and exercise every day sometime.
Well, that's going to be lunch, or before work or after work.
Oh, I think
I don't know where he'd have to be out there when somebody delivers the parts.
well, that's just when I started here, you know.
Okay. Do we need him? Is it better for him to be 8 to 5 or 7 to 4? I don't know.
It just depends on the doctor, how much they need him for that early, that's what, you know.
This,
I'll ask him.
Well,
We always,
7:30.
oh, well,
we always got, we needed, material, I always got a PO the day before.
Day before, yeah. Because you got to order, you know,
Yes,
a
you
day
got-
ahead of time anyway.
You got, you know, if you don't, you don't get
You
it.
didn't really need him out there at 7 o'clock, did you?
No, that's what I'm saying, I called him, we called him,
Way before me, so I don't know who said.
but that was,
Talk to him, see what he-
see, I called him 8 o'clock today, and I need, the next day, I called at about 8 o'clock.
They might need to be there at 7
Well,
o'clock.
virtually everybody starts at 8 o'clock.
Right.
If that's not a,
Except the sheriff's department. Maybe that's why he's there at 7, because the sheriff's department might need something. You know, if they need something in the jail overnight, they want to get it as soon as they can get it.
Not two people that's supposed to have credit cards. That's him and the sheriff's department. They go pick a prisoner up, you have,
The sheriff's department only needs it for weekends and traffic. Sometimes they use it, that's what we limit it to. That's what Roger and them were talking about, and I didn't want them to use the credit card.
well,
Because then you would have 15, if you want to issue 15, then the auditor's office would hold it, and then you would start having people sign in and sign out, and then that would be another, that's how some of the counties do it. But I don't really want us to get into this, that could be a chore in itself.
But if Roger wants to, well, Roger called the other day, if he wants to, because that's what we make sheriff's office do with them credit cards anyway. We made them get a PO, didn't we? So, you know, if he's got the credit card in his hand, he just needs to call and get a PO before he uses it.
Yeah.
So then we'll just issue a credit card for the sheriff, or Road and Bridge, and then everybody else will use James.
well, I'll tell you, maybe I've been misinformed, but that job was created when they caught all the commissioners getting a lot of kickbacks and stuff years ago, and probably was a good thing so the commissioners quit doing it. So that job was created. We don't have that problem anymore, but we still have the job. It's like, once you get something, you don't get rid of it. We just keep it. It's not a,
I'm not disagreeing with him, that's what they said a while ago, is if James retires, leaves, or whatever, I think you could probably have the different offices go get their own stuff, and we can handle the POs. But I'm not telling you to fire anybody. I'm just saying in the future, you can handle it without that job. Each office, you gotta go get your own stuff, but you don't call the office for your PO. Because all POs have to come to us anyway. But you're right, I think went back there, and that's before my time too. We had some commissioners who went to jail.
that's what I was told. And then Mr. White said this at one time in a conversation. He said, "Don't need to replace me." You know, when he was going to retire, and that was it. And he was very detailed. His records were.
And again, I wouldn't mind our office doing every PO, as long as you had the other thing, you could shift his job description around. Because like I said, like Carl said, it's really easier if we initially do it. So if you.
Well, I have a
but
third person in the office now, so we're not overworked, we're not overburdened, they can pick up that duty, but if you're gonna take that duty off of him, and you're gonna give $31,000, you're gonna find something to do. Whether it's help the maintenance farm out there and chase parts for them, or however you want.
Well, boy, I could have, we
we
all could have used him. I mean, they brought it up, Conroy, you know, right now, I've never seen anything like it in my life. They deliver a part, ABC, a $10 spark plug or whatever, almost instantly. But Conroy don't. So I've taken, you know, if something breaks down during the day, you need something at Conroy, I've had to send one of my men out there, I've sent, and get it. And it happens a lot, or we've, whatever. But if I'd have known that that was availability to us, we all had to send our road hands to get parts like at Conroy. They don't deliver.
You know, you could train him to, I guess you could, you could train him to investigate the parts for you. You know, like he has to go, I don't know, we have to be a mechanic to be able to do that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it'd be hard to tell, for Terry to tell him what, you know,
Yeah.
what he needed. I mean, it's just like yesterday when we were talking to him, he had said he had spent like an hour and a half at looking for a part for one of the trucks that was in there then, a clutch for it.
I don't know if we're trying to do that, I think I could be.
That was one of the deals that I had.
Sure be nice if the mechanic could just go do mechanics.
Yeah.
Have somebody-
That was one of the problems that I had with him early on, was I'd call him for something and he'd say, will you research and get it, and then I'll order it, tell me what you want, and go ahead and order it, and I'll give you the PO and all for it. And I finally told him, I said, no, I need you to do it. I don't need to do it myself, I need you to do it. And he said, okay, so he finally took it on, you know, to do that. And he had, if I needed, I was trying to get some prices on I think some safety equipment or something. We were trying to get that grant now. And I called him, told him, I said, you need to call these folks, and told him who I wanted to call and tell them to send you a, quote on it. And he did. But
Well,
It's just a few costs.
that's just some things that you think about, especially if you're somebody running. But, the only other thing I want to tell you, I want to ask about the money that's in the right of way. The money in the right of way is, $3,487,000.
I was thinking
How
it
much?
was three.
3 million?
$3,487,000. But now that's a lot more road. It costs a lot of money just to do right there in front of Horace Bluff.
Yeah.
You didn't have to do it very long. You're talking about, what is it, 3 miles out there from schools, off of 49?
Right at it.
And 3 million, how much?
$3,487,000.
Is what's left in there.
That's what's left in there.
Cost us $1 million for the utilities to get moved is the thing.
Yeah.
That didn't cost, it cost to buy the land. I wonder what we spent all
We
together.
bought the land and moved the utilities, what we did.
Yeah, so that's all we'll have to do here.
That's
But
right.
Water cost us $489,000. The water alone was moved.
That's not what we told to start with, that it would cost.
Well, one thing you've got to look at out there too is all of that's already been moved there where the loop comes out.
4,000.
That section through there, which is
That intersection, but the rest of the way down
the
there,
rest of the way down there and the rest of the way back to 49 will have to be purchased and moved.
And that cost a lot.
Yeah.
They did out here.
She sent me a deal that says rollback rate is 52.20.
thank God they give us
When will she know effective
the
rate?
doctor give us that land. There would have been
If you last a lot longer, they'll give it.
McKelvey.
Effective rate's probably about what we're
They
at.
paid him something.
That's our
not what we did.
Hadn't been a big change, it's,
No.
And he had the biggest part. Good guy.
have you looked over this? Do you have any questions here as far as any directives?
Just real quick, I wanted y'all to know, down there at the south end by the airport, they've really done a lot of dirt work and stuff down there.
So
Had a lot of people ask me about it, but it's a $12.3 million project, and the state and the feds are paying for all of it. But they're really moving. Get a chance, right down there and look at it.
Yeah, drove by there the other day. I can't wait to see them work on off I-30 over on the west end. That's,
Well, if they would get those on and off ramps put there, it would make life a lot easier for people on the main road.
But they're not going to.
Maybe we can push them.
It ain't gonna happen.
Okay.
Did one of y'all give me this?
Jimmy did.
that's what I told you yesterday that I'd bring.
Budget on the,
This is, what's Harrison County?
Harrison
Yeah.
is, down. Golly bum, I can't remember exactly where it's at.
So this is Upshur. What do I need to look at here?
The salaries and all there. And the road and bridge deal.
Yeah, I've seen this before.
Did y'all's meeting go okay yesterday?
yeah, he was, like I said, he was us, he said he should know what his position was. He said when Dennis left, they put him in that position over the shop. So I said, I didn't know, I had to check into that. And he said he didn't mind. He said, don't, about anything. If any changes, if we was over him, whoever's over him, it didn't matter. But he said keeping up with time, we need to know if he was, like he said he does a job for 4 hours and just charged 1 hour labor, like $35. He needs to start charging 8 hours of labor, and
He said, if I change the oil in the car and charge them $35 like I have been, then, but I do it and put down my time, and it takes, longer. I just using oil. I mean, it wouldn't take him an hour to do that, but if something had taken him an hour and he goes ahead and charges for the 4 hours it takes him to do it, then it's going to be a whole lot more, a whole lot more. And he
Out of
said,
the budget.
yeah, out of the whoever's budget it is. And
I just told him, I said, maybe you just do the job and keep it up, just keep up with your time, how long it takes you to do it. And just keep charging it the same way, instead of charging, but he's like he said, I try to save the county money and just charge him. I do a job for 4 hours, I just charge him for an hour labor. But I just told him, I said, maybe you need to do that, but I keep up with your time on a separate deal to show how much you really work on it.
well, I thought he's not going to have to account for his time. I thought you were going to give him like work orders and whatever it takes for his time.
Right.
How we charge it, budgeting is not the
Well, I just
issue. Doesn't affect his responsibilities at all. It's how we decide to
Well, it's
to
just like,
separate the
Al,
money.
if you take one to Elliott's, that mechanic that's working on your vehicle.
Sure.
Is going, his time, the minute he starts on it, he's gonna put his time down, and when they finish, well, then that's the way they're gonna charge you.
Georgia.
Right. Yeah, but we don't do that here. I mean, for a lot of budgeting reasons, I don't know what they are, but for instance, like $150 a day for that 18-wheeler, that's ridiculous. That was ridiculous, but that was how they had the budgeting set up, and I figure they had a good reason for it. It shouldn't be, that's two separate things, in other words. He shouldn't be concerned about how they charge it off. He should keep up for his time.
Yeah, and that's what we told him.
Yeah, we're not,
I said, we didn't care how you charge it, we just need to keep up your time.
That was set up, we went to Pilgrims, and they had a system set up that was a break even. It wasn't to make money or anything, it was just to break even.
in a revenue producing job, it's a
Yeah.
service.
But he just said, tell him what he needs to do and he'll do it.
Yeah, he said, I just don't know what direction y'all want me to go, and he said, if y'all will tell me what I need to do, he said, I'll be more than glad to do it.
Now, let me say this. He had trouble, he was griping about Ricky, and he told me Philip Hinton told him what he'd do. And then there was some more instances that I remember, and he said, Philip told me to do this. You know what I mean? Philip Hinton I'm talking about. And he said that to me more than one time. I'm talking about 3 or 4 or 5 different times he said that to me when he first started. So he knew. I don't know whoever told Philip was in charge, but I thought Philip was who he reported to.
If he had a question or something, he went to Philip.
Was he told that? He said he wasn't told that, right, Dana? He said
that Philip was always his go-to guy. And,
he never said it like
and
that.
that he, if he needed to know something or whatever, that's where he went. He said, but if Dana wants to, take over and tell me what to do and how to do it, he said, I don't have a problem with that. But he said, I just need to know what's, He said, I was told when I went to work that I would be taking Dennis's place. And he said Dennis was foreman and everything else, and he said he was the one that told everybody else what to do, and so.
But he always called Philip and told him what he was doing.
Did he?
Yeah.
I guess.
Now, he may not go to everything in detail, but anything major to be done or somebody, he talked to Philip. Well, Dennis was one of those you didn't.
He'd call you if he had.
So did he learn anything from the conversation? He understands, okay, I need to do that different.
He's the exception.
That's what
I
he
think
said.
so, yeah, as far as the times and all on
I've never seen
his
anybody like him.
time that he, works on a vehicle or piece of equipment or whatever. We
said
told him
keep up.
that he needed to keep up with it.
But he said, I told him, I said, well, you keep up with it, you just say what you've been doing, and then keep up with your time.
He's got a work order that he uses on the sheriff's department stuff that it don't have a place for the time. And I told him, but it's got a long comment deal as to, what he's doing, all that. And I told him, I said, use that. Just put your time, the time you start on that vehicle and the time you finish it. You write it down. And I said, the other guy
On the work ticket, or is he gonna keep a master log? I mean, what's the best way to do that?
Well, keep from cut, you really have to do it 2 different ways, because like he's doing, he said, if I charge every hour I'm on the vehicle, they're gonna start raising the pay. They take, like I said, he's on 16 hours on that dump truck, and he said $35 an hour, usually just puts just an hour down, just say you got it fixed. That way we charge that much to the road and bridge fund. But I just told him, I said, well, you keep up like you order, purchase it out like this, and then keep up your time on another, and show me what you're doing on it. But he's trying, he said, I'm gonna save the county money, but I said, well, I just want you to show, if that's what you do on your tickets, that's fine, but I wanted a separate sheet showing what you've actually done.
I told him also on that sheet, if he spent an hour and a half, like he told us he spent an hour and a half yesterday morning looking for a clutch for that truck that was.
So then he'd wait.
Trying to find the right one and the cheapest one.
I'd go up to Robertson.
And I said, if you do that, you write it on that sheet that that's what you did.
Left whenever.
I said, that way we know what you're doing and how you're doing
He
it.
left, he did that.
And I said, we can keep up with your time and see what's going on.
So he had to sit at the computer for an hour or on the phone, an hour and a half to do that.
Well, it's just like I said the other day, I sat for nearly 2 hours looking for a roller for my hay baler
That I can't ever.
at the house over the weekend. Well, I broke a baler Saturday.
Dennis, I've seen
And
Dennis out there.
I looked Saturday afternoon for a while and Sunday afternoon. And it was probably close to 2 hours that I looked trying to find one and find the cheapest one that I could find.
They're helping him, you know, every once in a while, but that was about it. You know what I mean?
What a productivity, what's is there any alternative for that?
Every time I was ever out
I
there.
said, James, maybe you should learn how to do that.
I don't know that
Is on that truck.
And Terry
I
told
don't know that he could ever,
if Terry told him what to look for, he could.
told him exactly what to look
They're
for.
out there mouthing tires.
I don't know.
Because, nobody does, when he goes to these places, he does like safety stuff and these sign deals, he gets the best deal on that.
Yeah. But
He researches.
it's just like that, and I keep referring back to my deal. There's 6 different rollers that could go in that thing. And if he gets the wrong one in here, then we're gonna be down that much longer. Where if Terry knows what he's looking for and he gets it, then, that's my concern with that, is somebody else doing it.
Mine too.
My gut tells me he had something to do.
He also said something about, just like Conroe
I
is,
don't know why, there's some
if
reason.
you order it and it's gonna be on the truck tomorrow, they're still charging some big freight deal. Whether it's on the truck or not, it's on the truck, but it's not a special order. They charge it like it's a special order.
Mechanic, he didn't want that Bobby out
He
there.
said they charge like $50, $60, and it's a routine truck part coming in.
Yeah, well, I told him one time, I said that.
He said, I guess he charged, everybody that gets a part that day, he charged $60 for how that part come in. If you had 10 parts, that's $600.
And they got a little pissed off at me.
They
I
put
said
it
up here, but it ain't Bobby's fault.
Well, as far as his level of pay, what do you think we need to do here?
I did find out something Monday afternoon, I meant to bring it up yesterday and I forgot it. He works at Ricklett's after he leaves us. It's just part-time.
You know what I mean? 'Cause he-
They're paying him $30 an
In the
hour,
wintertime, you don't need.
part-time.
In the wintertime, you don't need him.
No, indeed.
But if everybody.
Because I asked Ricklett's, one of the guys at Ricklett's, what
For example,
it
if you had
was.
a truck.
He said, we're paying him $30 an hour. And I said, why is he still working for us? And he said, because he's working part-time for us. We don't need him full-time.
Just
But we
little
do,
things.
we do need him every now and then. And he said,
All my stuff.
we're paying him $30 an hour and we're not paying benefit. And he said, that's the reason he stayed with y'all for what he's making.
I mean, it needs to be, you don't wait for it. It's just like a church.
Sometime you filed our benefits on top of this package.
Every 2 years.
Doing
we
better
got-
than, what do we have now, like 20?
2085 or something other like that, I think.
Yeah. Every 2 years, we go through it, have
Well,
hoses
so
checked,
what do you think
everything
we ought
checked.
to do, need to do
Preventive. And
this coming year, just the 2%
every now and
raise?
then I'd have, but I never tell you, when I went in office, everything I had was junk. I didn't have one thing.
I don't know.
The $5 would it make it 25, and not give him 2% raise this year?
I just,
Because like I
I
said-
just thought I had some old trucks. I
And keep
went
up
up there,
with it, with what's going on.
got to look at Ram.
Make him big
stuff,
account.
That's a $10,000 raise.
Need junk.
Well, that Bomac,
I know he's probably asking for 27, about 27.
that Bomac.
He was wanting $27.
Antique, you remember last year?
I can't remember what he was.
Now they had the same truck. But then when you run it, it takes about that. Caterpillar brand, same thing.
on there going, you know, it's like the thing needs to be gone. I don't know value except scrap iron.
Up there at Ritchie Brothers.
He's only asking for
We bought.
not even 12,000.
I'll tell you, we have tore up 1,000,000 road.
Oh, yeah, it just,
But it's worn out.
43, 368 to 55.
oh, yeah. Roger says,
But,
he says we
tell you
made,
something else, it comes back to who you put on it, how they drive it.
and Roger
If
tells
you gave him a $5,000 raise, you put him in
when you set the depth of that.
53,368, a little bit more, actually.
The way I just tell him about the trucks, I showed him the road we did.
What do you use, 2,080 hours for a year?
What does he make now, 20,
I think it's 2085 or something, isn't it?
that's what everybody
We
is.
said
Yeah,
ours
I think that's what it is.
I don't know, I mean, I didn't know what he was talking
You
about.
put him within $1,300 of what he's asking for, with a $5 raise.
How fine it,
That thing Roger got, that crusher, you know, that big cat that he got, it will take them big chunks like that, make them little bitty. And Preeford had one over there. And where I had one that didn't break up good, he let me borrow it. We'd break it up, then I'd take it.
Brian, you was asking about Harrison County.
All
That's
they did was
Marshall
make sure it's
over to Greg
diesel
County
up,
and
make sure it's gas, dieseled up, and,
Looks like they're
something
about
broke, I want to know about it.
47,000,
That's all he is.
something like that.
He knew,
I think they were,
and I wanted that thing
Upshire's
10
not
years ago, because of
48, they're at
the
30,000
grade all.
per.
it's 41's what,
Going on there.
what that figures up.
Yeah, but this has got the judge in it
And
too.
they,
Does it? I thought the judge was above it there.
So it was in the shop out there, because,
No, I called, talked to Cole
and
after.
I told
Oh,
him.
did you?
You know, the judge makes 46, and the commissioner is 30, each times 4 is 120, 166 there. And that figure, there is another judge.
I'm not sure what happens, but there's a little clutch in there. You got it moving,
They
it'll
got-
tear it.
I know Harrison broke out. Theirs is broke out as to
You don't want
the
that
judge,
learn by tearing
unless
stuff
that's
up.
another
You
one
want
or
that
something
guy
too.
to
I don't
say,
know.
"Don't do
They got
this,
him in a
do
separate
this."
department, but that's
Do
what's
that.
confusing me. And so I looked, they have a statutory, like, their judge doesn't handle
put somebody else on
the
this.
judicial stuff like other smaller counties. So they've got 2 judges doing the judicial stuff.
Well, whatever's run my brush
Judge's
cutter.
salary, and then they have a salary regular employee that's like, he said that was,
And we sharpen them blades every day. That's the
like
key.
the judge's assistant,
Grease.
something like that.
One thing I demanded,
Then you see on there that salary supplement,
Maintenance.
that's the judge's
I want
salary,
raise.
state salary supplement.
On the diesel, they always
It's
diesel
kind of good for you to put it all in the
in the
commissioner's
morning.
report.
Now, I'd rather diesel when I got in, because I could go home and take a bath.
Okay, so what do you think
Shower or
about
something,
Terry?
I get diesel.
You know, I've told Carl to budget for 2 positions, not knowing, 2 full-time positions, that you could allocate more to Terry. You know, just have a part-time guy. But I guess that's what we're gonna be discussing. You know, I know Commissioner Riddle doesn't think he's the right guy for that spot, Terry.
What, the lead man?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I don't think he's the,
Well, I guess maybe we'll glean more after we have this executive session, but
that's not, that's very difficult to hire a good mechanic, get a good.
apparently he's a good mechanic, and maybe if Dana's giving him some direction and he understands he's gonna be answering to him, maybe we'll get more out of him, but I'd like to see some time go by before we bump this up. We'll have room in that budget to, if we budget for 2 positions, that we could give him a salary bump without committing to it right now.
1,000, I'm sorry, I left my hearing aids, I didn't get them.
I've told Carl to go ahead and budget there for 2 full-time positions rather than a salary plus a part-time salary. If we see some improvement by the time the budget year stops, then you can give Terry some additional pay and hopefully not need 2 full-time people. I don't know, I'm just guessing.
I think probably you could. I mean, you have to find other duties during the winter time, but I think that if like I said, that's the reason I can't even understand Roger not wanting that responsibility, because he could.
Well, I think that's where it needs to be come first of the year.
Right.
I mean, it just
I
don't
think
seem
so.
to go hand in hand.
That's what I think, and
I mean, somebody that does work for me and that I depend on, I'd want them under my authority.
Right. And that's, and I think that he could use 2. You realize we had Ricky as Ricky was a mechanics helper, and then we used a part-timer, and then we did Dennis, and that's equivalent to two mechanics, two guys. The problem is that, I don't know about summertime, but if he, I don't know. Well, I really think that, as Mike said last year, we've sacrificed because of oil prices and the loop, spending on road bridge. And our equipment is, it's really old. I mean, like a water truck. I mean, it's as simple as a water truck. It's just an old truck. They only use it a little while in the summer, and then they patched it and run it, and then we've got 5 or 6. I think Precinct 3's got 2 or 3 sitting around there. I don't believe they're still sitting there, and I think that we used 2 had a good one. I think that's what they're using now.
Both my trucks are good.
Our water truck.
One is an 85 and the other is an 88, but they're well taken care of.
And the one Precinct 1 had, and Precinct 3, we was always borrowing something from them, or it was always and all that. I mean, I think we need to improve that. I think we have to improve it sometime, equipment-wise. I mean, not so many, just get rid of 3 and get 1 good one, you know what I mean, the trucks and stuff. I'm not so sure that, but I think two mechanics. I think he could take it, he could use 3, like you said, right now.
The whole key to everything is in your off-season is go through every piece of equipment. Make sure it's working properly and make sure that it's good enough to make a season. Worst thing can happen, because what was happening before, I came in the office, they had something tear up, they might take it to John Deere or Conroy's, and it'd sit there a month before you got it fixed. That's the reason we went to doing it ourselves. It cost so much, and you couldn't get anything done because the equipment was sitting to be worked on. And that you take it to John Deere or Conroy's, it's going to be put on the list, and when they get to it, they'll get to it. Now, I do know Joel several times has moved our county equipment up because he knew we needed it real bad. Way back there, where we can't work on it out here, and that's very seldom. With Dennis, he always worked on it. He just had that ability now. I think Terry's a pretty good diesel man, isn't he? From everything I've heard, they say he's pretty good on those diesel tractors.
He's pretty good mechanic. Yeah, he's a fairly good mechanic. Just like the telephone. Did you say anything to him? I mean, he has a phone in his ear all the time. You be talking to him, you think he's talking to you, and he's talking on the cell phone.
Did you say something?
Yeah, but he's got it on. He's underneath the truck, and he's talking on the cell phone. He's laying on the floor, and it's got to hurt your concentration. I mean, he needs to leave that cell phone in the office or somewhere. It's got to affect his ability, his quality of work. Being able to talk on that phone all the time. He's on the phone all the time and got that artificial cigarette. He's got that headset on his phone and that cigarette and all the time. And it's hard for him to work with that doing. It's just, and like going out and look at those cabinets, the moss on it. I mean, the place is filthy. The office is filthy. It's just,
Well,
I don't know.
don't go look at my shop out there. It's pretty dirty.
Well, I know there's a difference between strode and messed up and
Well, I had it.
dirty. I don't know. I think that it's usually indicative of a guy's quality of work, of how he keeps it. I'm not sure. So I think though
I had a guy that he'd take stuff out there to get worked on. He'd grab a broom and he'd sweep, weed eat. He said, I got to be doing something. This standing I can't do. Dennis said, send him out here anytime you want to or something.
you know, Dana, that guy, you know the guy we buy the crude oil from over at Talco, Barnett or some of his name? During the summer last year or summer before last, he's worked in the oil field always, and I can't think of his name now, but he's a brother to that guy. And Philip hired him. And that's the way he was over there. I don't know.
He worked part-time for Philip, the older guy?
In the summer. You know who it was?
I can find his name, yeah.
Huh?
I can find out his name, I don't know.
I got the name in my Rolodex, but I mean, I got the last, I know his brother, but I don't know what he is. But he was he sure was a hard worker. I mean, he just, I don't know where.
Well, it's just like their oil trucks. They were wore out when they came into office.
Yeah, oh yeah, they were trucks wore out when.
I tell you, I had a truck, the second year I was in office, it was shaking so bad coming, and we had 40 barrels of oil on there, pulled it into the old John Deere when we had that, raised it up, and the whole front end fell out from under it. And we were going down the road driving it. And I promised those hands, the first truck I ever bought was an 88 GMC, and put a new tank on it, and that truck's the same as it then as it is now.
All right,
But
back on track here, let's try to wrap this up. As far as salaries for our maintenance department there with Terry, if I instruct Carl to basically budget two of these $43,000 salaries, is that enough? Of course, if you give Terry a raise at the beginning of the new year, then that reduces the amount that's available for other salaries. If you feel like we need a budget for two full-time salaries, then you need to tell me what you think you're going to do with that lead man salary if we're going to do anything besides the 2% raise.
My thoughts are, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if you're gonna keep a good mechanic, you're gonna have to pay him.
And I don't mind
Pay
that.
what? That's my question.
I'd say $25.
Okay, so $50,000 salary instead of $45,300.
But I don't think that, I don't have a problem with that, but I think that I don't have a problem if Roger's going to be his boss starting January the 1st, we should allow him a little time to decide whether he wants to give it to him or not. I don't think we should promise Terry a raise January the 1st if we're going to.
Well, or certainly not October 1.
But
But I think Roger should be involved in.
Ability, or what he gets done, because you'll know within a month or two what he's doing.
Well, I think that's what we can say, is we're going to budget more in this position. Now, whether we allocate more to you and less to a second person, or whether we allocate more to a second person and leave you the same, will be dependent upon, your performance.
How much you get done.
Yes.
Back on the Rogers budget request, you've seen what Carl anticipates the fund balance to be about 4.6 million. Knowing that, do you desire to pull any of that out and use it to fund additional budget money for Roger? Y'all have expressed no, y'all have expressed some willingness to look at it.
I would,
Now that you know the fund balance, what do you want me to do?
I'd like to see if, depending on whatever it is, say it's a 500,000, I'd like to see it put in what I call an emergency fund, because if you have a disaster, a tornado, if you have a washout like we did 2 years ago, or if you have a ice storm or something like that, put that in there, and then when we hit June or July, everything's okay, that money could be used to help seal coat roads.
In other words, get past the storm season and see what you got left.
I don't know how he's gonna spend the rest of $700,000. I can't believe he did, but he,
I guarantee he's good at it, because you better spend it with the state or it goes back to the state.
well, but if there's anything left, apply that to the fund balance, whatever that is, and I'd like to see the 500,000 go to the, he'd get 500,000. I think 2 of it would be the part of the 7 or something like that. So we'd take 3 out of the fund balance would be what I would like to see, but that's,
But I'm telling you, we have a big ice storm, it could cost $300,000-400,000 besides what he's got now. Maybe 500. Just depends if the whole county's hit, it would.
but that's the reason we have a fund balance anyhow.
Yeah.
For emergencies,
For some reason, we don't want to change the budget in the middle of the fiscal
Right.
year.
but an emergency, you can.
Yeah.
So you feel like you're marking it under a separate budget?
We're just earmarking it for, what I guess you would call a rainy day fund or something like that. And if it's not needed,
No, we'll use it.
not needed for those other major stuff, you could, it might be an emergency.
So basically, you're saying, tell Roger we're leaving your budget the same, but we're putting an additional line item for contingency, emergency contingency, 500,000, and we will release that May 1st, if we've gotten through the storm season, or June 1st.
Usually the seal coating is done in July and August. Something end of June.
Well, it'd be tough for me to plan to prepare a bunch of roads, hoping that money's gonna be available to
Yeah.
seal coat, and knowing that I've gotta get seal coat on those roads, and then having a bunch of June rains and wash out all my roads.
Well, you're gonna be working on those roads all summer too. You won't be prepared to get, with no more hands than we have.
Okay. What do y'all think? Anything changed in your attitude? Y'all are of the mind of leaving it alone?
I still think we should, although I got a call yesterday afternoon from a lady out on 3310 and said that she had called him a while back and said their road was horrible, and said there's 4 or 5 houses down the road. It's not real long, but said he told her that the commissioners, he was going to be answering to the commissioners and that he wasn't going to be able to fix her road. And she said, I'm calling you. Said, I know I'm not in your precinct, but she said, I'm letting you know that our road needs something done to it. Said, the grass is 6 foot tall, and said, there's potholes all in the road. And I said, I've got a meeting in the morning, I'll bring it up. So,
So in a situation like that, what's the answer?
One for the thing for the grass, you know, and I've talked to Roger a little bit. It's just, we've had an enormous amount of rain this year. But I had a guy yesterday say, you know, I look at the unit system and stuff, and he said, you have one hand and one mower. He said, I look up, here comes 3 hands, 3 mowers. And he said, one person seems like it's cheaper than the other. I think Roger could keep his skilled people on the road, rebuilding roads and fixing roads, and hire some part-time help to do the mowing would be the best way to go. But now that's left up to him. What do y'all think? The mowing is what I
Well,
think.
that's a tough position to be in. You gotta either say, I will tell him that I want this done, or you gotta say, I'm sorry, I've given him full authority and I'm staying out of it.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, and, you know, I don't know why he would have told her that unless he thinks that well, you know, they're not going to give me any money. I just don't want to do anything.
Well, if I was him, that's what I'd tell her. I'm sorry, ma'am, they haven't budgeted me enough money to take care of your.
Well, he's got money right now that he could go do something with it.
Well, he could, but if he deems that these other 9 complainers are a higher priority than she is,
That's true.
he may
I
go
agree
try to
with
take care of 5 of those, because that's
But-
all the money he's got.
But also, he could go out there and do some patching to get it up and back, you know, drivable. I haven't been out and looked at the road. I may ride out there here after we get through and look at it, but I don't, you know, I don't know what the answer to that is that, you know, I know what I would do if it was me and mine. I'd go take care of it. I'd go take care of it the best of my ability with what I had. And, you know, that's the way I'd do it until I could do better. I wouldn't tell her that, no, I'm not coming and working on your road. There ain't no way I'd tell her that. Even if you know, somebody told me I couldn't go work on it, I'd still have to try to do something to it.
Things like it happen. Somebody told me that lives out in your district not a few months ago, said he don't call me back, you know what I mean? I call, complain about my road and stuff. And I got a guy I called Roger about yesterday. This guy calls me regularly. He gonna bitch about the road. If we put an interstate highway, he gonna find something to be. And I told Roger, I said, there's one.
Where's my flowers?
Yeah, that's the way on the blue pundits. Yeah, you're right. But I told Roger, I said, but there is one, those new culverts, seem like, I don't know whether y'all had this where we put big ones, replaced big ones the last couple of years. Seem like top of the ground. I don't know what we're doing wrong, but they kind of sink. You'll have a little dip there. We got to go back and fill them up. Maybe we're not getting loose enough dirt around the sides of them. I'm talking about the big ones now, the 2-footers. Have y'all had that problem? I've had that on about 3 of them, and this one.
You got a hole big enough and pack it.
We didn't pack it enough.
Yeah, you got to get a hole big enough to pack it, and then you got to watch it because it's going to settle some even.
Settled.
After you pack it, it's going to settle some.
I've had those big ones, and this one, and I told Roger, I said, this is the only one that I would do. One of them, he said, this guy yesterday, but he's called me ever since I've been in office. He said there's a tree on the roadway, and he said it's dead. And I had to take my tractor and go get a limb off the road one day last week or something like that. I mean, but this guy's always got a problem. You know what I mean?
There's some of them out there.
Yeah, I don't care. But that's just, and I told Roger that, the road and everything is.
Okay, so both of you want to hold the line on the 2017 budget?
I think so.
That'd be good. Like I said, you know, with this crazy weather, you know, the next 2 weeks is supposed to rain. So he's not gonna be able to do any road patching.
It's not gonna be able to do any seal coating either.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you know.
It's just a crazy year.
Well, I'm gonna give him some money. If y'all are okay with a $500,000 in there, I'm gonna side with you, give him some more money. He's asked for $1.2 million additional. We can't do that this year. I want to see some road improvement, and I don't want to see him have to sit here with, in the same shape for the whole year. Now, if he doesn't spend all of that, I will use that toward that $500,000. And maybe he can spend it all, maybe he can't, but if he comes $100,000 shy, then,
September the 1st is, you don't seal code after that date. The state only
he may
seal.
find something else to do to spend it. I don't know what he's got planned, but if you ask him how are you gonna spend
I
that
figure he's going
$700,000.
to, but if it's gonna be raining between now and then, when he's making that cold mix up, it don't make when you got rain.
Well, a week of rain, the rest of the summer, I mean, he's got
And it-
9 weeks before the end
And
of
I
the year.
anticipate a hurricane coming in here sometime. Always does, about
Okay,
every
so would you
7-8 years.
budget in
Hurricane.
$500,000 additional above the 2017 budget?
You know what I'm talking about.
And that's what I'll share with Roger, is that,
Now, if he doesn't spend that, so like you said, he has carryover, say, 100,000, is that going to include that 500 or above that, whatever he didn't spend this
yeah,
year?
in other words, if you can spend that 700,000, you can still get 500,000. If you don't get it all spent this year, then
It's going to go
it
toward
carries
500.
over toward the
Not
500,000.
that plus 500.
Correct.
And Roger, he'll do what he can to get it done. May not be able to fix everything he wants, but that's what we've been doing for years. I was wanting to, I learned a lot at Commissioner School. We've all done this, but they were talking to me about 3M30 oil. Commissioner down there told me, he said he had done several roads each year, and I was wanting to, I'd said something to Roger about this, and he said that's kind of like you put on the road, and it fills those cracks and stuff up that are in pretty good shape. I've got about 25 miles of road that I put asphalt on the last 22 years. Of course, in the last 8 years, we couldn't do much of anything because of oil prices. But, you may not be able to fix it that whole, like you want to fix it, but that might get you by for 5 or 6 years before you need the seal coat.
Okay, we've got that 11 o'clock. Have you got something to do between now and then, or you want to go down there and visit with James and I?
Well, I do need to run to the bank, just I need to run to
Well,
the
then
bank.
I'll take care of James.
Okay.
Guys, is there anything else, any reason you want to carry this over another day, or you want to simmer on this for a while and maybe have another day before we begin our hearings? We're going to propose a tax rate of 4802. We have to do, is there any reason why we can't propose that in the first meeting in August, Chris?
Judge, let me tell you something. On this budget stuff, I think it's smart to do that.
Do what?
To propose it early.
Well, we looked at the calendar yesterday.
If you get to that last day we meet, and we don't pass a budget, you don't have a
Well, I'm
budget.
just talking about, we have to throw out that early proposed rate.
What about, what if Luminant comes through with some more money? Will that affect the
That'd be
budget?
a wonderful problem. We'll have all kind of options.
Put that in fund reserve.
I mean, let that be a birthday present, and we can work with that when, I mean, if that were to change, I'd want to make some changes to this budget. So all we're doing, remember, is proposing a tax rate right now. What you propose and what you eventually vote on can vary widely.
So if we had got a lot of money, we could reduce that
But we
rate.
have to propose that we have a deadline on that tax rate proposal by the end of the month. So whether we're finished with our negotiations or not, you got to at least give them a figure.
Paul and Christie cannot count that money till we know we got it.
He can't
See what, but hey, it's gonna be a lot of money. It's gonna be a lot of money.
Wouldn't it be nice?
Well, we put it at 50 million.
I know, I'm sure.
I think it's gonna be, if it's 250 million, it's a pretty good chunk of money for them.
I think it's leaving this rate. I think we'll lower the rate. Instead of spending it.
for 6 months.
Next year, you're gonna have the same raise.
For 2% raise.
I'm telling you right now, after your election, you know, election, it's, you fix to see this courtroom field, I'm telling you, you can get ready for that.
I can tell.
You fix to see this courtroom field.
Hurts my feelings. They don't give a damn what we do, then they want to grind.
I'm just telling you, I know people.
That's pretty good. He said he did everything good.
But the one thing we have, most counties don't have, nearly all counties, we're one of the very few. Your homestead is frozen. And you turn 65 if you apply for it. A lot of people don't even apply for it.
I mean, what does it say? Is it?
But like I said,
A person 65, they're
I think
retired.
you'll get other
They
mechanics.
have fixed income. Their homestead shouldn't be going up. When they die, it goes to the heirs and it jumps up there.
Everything else.
I know.
It scares me to death, this hospital. You keep hearing the rumors that somebody's gonna take this hospital over. You haven't heard that? You know
I
what?
find out. I know Terry Scoggins. I know him really well. I'll ask you next time I see him.
I just keep hearing that. And they'll turn,
But it's like the college out here. You can go out here for per semester about $2,500. Go on to Commerce and see what it costs you. It's about $19,000 to go and get room, board, meals and everything. That's a big savings. It's already been a big savings. I got one out there in college. I got one in the Navy, grandson in the Navy now. And he's gonna be an electrical engineer. I know that's the way to go.
It used to be a lot cheaper for a junior college. Of course,
Well, I know $2,500 sounds about $2,000 to pay for the hours, and figure about $500 a semester for gas.
I couldn't find that one. I mean, it's virtually the same thing, but he was.
I really was unhappy
Did
with
you get this off their website?
raising the rate
I Googled it to see if I could get it to him.
this year.
Well, Al, have you been out there and looked at those buildings?
Sure, I took classes, I took a welding course, I took
You
another
don't,
course.
can you weld?
Huh?
Can you weld? You're like me, you're a dauber.
This guy, my neighbor, he can weld. He come there and build his fence. He said, no.
All right, y'all ready to bring this to a close?
Mine, everything, he'd say, now, this is assignment, next Saturday, we're going to.
No, I was just gonna suggest double what we've got in there right now, about 43. 40. Just round it off to 90.
So what do you, it was Terry on his pay, what do we need to tell him?
We're gonna budget 90. Right now, you've got budgeted 43 plus about 13. So we'll budget enough to where we could make this a 2-position pay. But we will plan on giving him the 2% raise come October 1, and reevaluate
December.
by approximately January 1 for a increase. Let's see, at which time Roger will make his recommendation, and y'all will make your recommendation, and Roger will take over his management. So, again, we are budgeting additional monies. We are not giving you your requested raise as of October 1. You're going to get the 2% raise that everybody else is. And then until the end of the year, he will report to Dana, and January 1 will be our target date for Terry evaluation and rate adjustment, if any. And it sounds to me like if we can get some of these issues dealt with and get everybody more pleased with the production, that, you know, we're talking about going to a $25 an hour figure, potentially. But in the meantime, you can share with him some of our concerns are too much telephone time, and, not getting the production that we need. But now who's gonna be hiring this part-time replacement? Will he? Who hired that last guy that just quit?
Roger did.
Roger.
But I think it wasn't because he couldn't do the job, he was just hurt his
Yes,
back.
yeah, he's gonna do
Something
that.
That was happened years
My opinion-
ago.
My opinion too, though, if he's gonna do the hiring, he need to do the whole thing.
That guy's hurt his back.
You know, like I said, you know, you pay him that money, and he's, you know, he knew that whenever, I'll take care of him, I'll do it, but like I said, we pay him that.
Should we let Terry do the hiring?
I don't know, if he's gonna do the hiring, Roger needs to.
I'm not saying Roger do the hiring.
Right, well, I'm saying, you know, like
There's a reason.
like yesterday, he just didn't want to take the
And they gonna
the
not gonna say, well, that's
chore on, because Philip does most of his work.
So they come up with these things.
Well, we've agreed that he'll take on the management of the
Right.
ranks January 1. Until then,
Right.
who's going to make a selection on this part-time guy that we've got to replace? Is that something we let Terry handle with your assistance? I don't know.
Well, I think the supervisor ought to tell, you work on this type of equipment, you change the tires, you don't have the time, if you're caught up, you help over here.
We got to hire the position first.
Yeah.
Well, he did make the statement yesterday that if he wasn't, if, you know, somebody was gonna be over him, then he didn't see the need that he needed to take his time out to come up here to budget hearings and things like that, that he needed to do the work.
Their pay scale, like for changing oil, greasing tires and tires, is usually in the trucking business is a lot less than a mechanic.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, like $10, like
yeah.
30 to 20 or 25 to 15. The difference in the pay scale.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
And I'm assuming that's the caliber of guy we're going to be looking for, or right now, do we need to hire us a good $22 an hour mechanic?
I get the impression from Roger, now this is just an impression, he hasn't said it, but I think he thinks we need a pretty good mechanic, another $20 an hour mechanic, you know what I mean? He hasn't said that to me, but he's.
One person can't keep up with all that
Well,
equipment.
then there you go, you're gonna get a good mechanic at $20 an hour, you're gonna get just a mediocre one.
Sounds to me like you'll get a mediocre one at $20.
Right.
Yeah. Because it's like I told you a while ago, Ripley's just paying him $30 an hour to work part-time.
But no benefits is different.
Yeah.
I mean, you've
Oh,
got
yeah,
full-blown
yeah.
benefits.
That's
and
true.
full-time.
That's true, I agree with
Well, I
you.
would expect a part-time position to be about $30 an hour. What does he put in, 2 hours for him a day, or something like that?
Whatever they need, I think, the way I understand.
29 hours is what a part-time person will work. just whatever.
There's no way he's working 29 hours for Ripley.
No, he's not working that much. I would say probably 2 to 3 hours a day, probably.
Unless he's working a full Saturday or something.
Well, now, I think he does work some on the weekend.
Did he tell you it was 30, that Rick was paying him $30?
The Rickleys told me themselves that they were paying him 30.
So right now, we need to be open to a higher rate. Why don't you change that to 100 on that overall budget there instead of 90?
Because, you know, if he quits, we're in a bind.
No doubt.
I mean, that's a good possibility. I would think that, you know,
Dennis Wilbanks is out of the picture, we think.
I've never talked to Dennis.
I hate to say it,
All right, let's bring this to a close. Get a motion to adjourn.
We'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second. To Applewhite and Parker.